Hey everybody, welcome back to Lettermen Row and a latest fresh batch of Road Beers, the off-topic podcast for us at Lettermen Row. We took another week off as things have been getting more interesting and slightly more busy with our actual jobs covering Ohio State, as it looks like college football is gradually working its way towards being played this year, which is good news for all of us. That's Jeremy Birmingham. That's Chives, Spencer Holbrook over there. And I don't know what has happened with the backgrounds in the last 2 weeks since we did this, but I don't know whether to start with the fact that you now have Seinfeld's apartment for Berm or Chives has a Cheez-It on the Empire State Building. What am I looking at here?
Well, you're looking at Seinfeld's apartment from the television show Seinfeld, which starred Jerry Seinfeld. Why not? It looks comfortable. It's a place that I would have always wanted to go, and the beauty of Zoom and this current world of fantasy and insanity we're living in is that I can go anywhere I want, whenever I want.
Why do you want to be in Seinfeld's apartment?
I don't know.
So he can look outside his window and see the Cheez-It on the Empire State Building.
Okay. Wow.
Well, no,
all connected in a way
that was not my thinking at all. I just like Seinfeld and I enjoy the apartment. And I figured, why not something different today?
It's always strange to me, like, there was a time in the middle of last season where Chives was binging Seinfeld and watching it every day. It's like, I think we maybe talked about this before when he was watching Cheers and the Andy Griffith show. Like, he can't even relate to the stuff in Seinfeld. Like, it's from a different era before he was born. Like, Chives probably never used a corded landline telephone in his life.
That's a lie.
A lot of the problems of Seinfeld would be solved by a cell phone.
So let me ask you this, Chives. What's the deal with that?
Was that Bobcat?
Whoa! No, listen, man. I appreciate that Chives has an old soul because, so many people of his age have just tried to abandon our history, the 20 years or so of our youths. And I'm all for it. I think that I appreciate people who appreciate Seinfeld because it requires a certain type of appreciation of humor as opposed to like Friends, which was more sight gags and that, goofy stuff like that.
I appreciate the dry humor of Seinfeld. I appreciate the nothingness of it. And I also appreciate that it taught me more about 90s culture than I probably could have ever learned because I was born in 1996. So, I didn't have 90s culture to grow up on. And the 90s is not something you generally learn about in history class. So the culture has not yet grown enough or become far enough in history where people will talk about the culture of the 90s like they do now with the 70s and the 60s and the 50s. So it taught me a lot about the culture of what was going on before me, but also it's hilarious and I love Seinfeld. So that's just another reason to watch it.
I'm not sure that Seinfeld would find that Cheez-It on the Empire State Building very funny though. Why?
Yeah, I don't know that that's a Seinfeldian humor. I think that's one that Jerry made.
That's a light gag right there.
Okay, so here's the thing about the Cheez-It on the Empire State Building. Twitter is a cesspool, an absolute cesspool.
Of course.
Twitter sucks.
That's well established on this show.
And it gets worse every day, especially this week. I was scrolling Twitter the other day like an idiot, and then I stumbled upon an ad. At the bottom of the tweet it says promoted. And it was like, if you're having trouble finding a Zoom background, allow Cheez-It to help. And Cheez-It had 4 different backgrounds. One of them was the sale of a boat was a Cheez-It, and I was like, that's kind of lame. But the last picture in this ad,
this one you picked is totally not lame. I agree.
The last picture in the ad was a Cheez-It rung onto the Empire State Building, and I just thought it was kind of funny. I got a little chuckle out of it, and I was like, you know what, Cheez-It, I am going to take you up on this offer. So we are not sponsored by Cheez-It. Cheez-It is not a sponsor. They're not even my favorite cracker snack, but I thought it was funny enough to at least show it off a little. I thought it was funny. Maybe I'm just stupid.
Berm, you just validated Chive's sense of humor, and then he turned it around in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, this clearly is a little cheesy, but
oh no.
The point is,
well, I'm glad we're doing this again.
As long as it's not cheese nips, which is the weirdest name for a snack ever, but B, it's crazy to me that there are people out there who prefer cheese nips over Cheez-Its. It's like there's an argument to be made for Red Vines over Twizzlers. I get it. They're a different texture. They're a different candy altogether, the straight licorice versus the corded licorice. I get it. I get that.
Sure.
But when you're talking cheese nips and Cheez-Its, there's a clear superior product, and it's Cheez-Its.
What's the deal with cheese nips?
What's the deal? The nips made of cheese.
It sounds like it's a not safe for work search term. Like, I need some cheese nips. Let's fire it up.
Yeah, like you'd expect that to be a category on a website.
Let's fire up the private browser and find some cheese nips.
I'm never going to Google search cheese nips for sale. I just think that would get me into too many dark web rabbit holes.
You know what I Googled 2 nights ago? Spencer, you won't remember this because as you just admitted, you weren't alive in the 90s. Do you remember PB Max, Austin, the candy bar?
Yeah.
We were talking about that during a bonfire the other night, and I remember the commercial was like, PB don't stand for portly ballerina. And for some reason, I had to Google to see what happened to PB Max, which has been unfortunately discontinued. It was pretty poor candy bar situation. It was just peanut butter on a cookie covered with chocolate, which you think all those things are pretty good, but apparently Mars, the company that was making them, decided to move on in a different direction.
But isn't that like a big tag along? Aren't we just kind of reinventing the wheel here?
It seems like you'd have to try pretty hard to fail once a candy bar goes to market.
Yeah, I mean, to decide that we're going to take this one off when it's just cookie, peanut butter, and chocolate, which are 3 things that any candy maker has pretty much an infinite supply of. It's very confusing. Oh, go ahead, Chives. Tell me
that's
Mars
not true.
Tell me Mars doesn't have an endless supply of chocolate and peanut butter. Go ahead, tell me that.
If you recall the Seinfeld episode, Twix is the only candy with the cookie crunch. So not every candy bar has a cookie crunch to it. Twix is the only candy bar.
Who makes Twix?
I'm just saying, you said every candy bar has.
Do yourself a favor and Google it. I didn't say every candy bar. I said every candy maker.
Do yourself a fable and Google it.
Google it.
I mean, I get the Jujul reference, but I don't know. Was the fable on purpose, or were you just too fired up at Chives?
Nothing. I don't know. I don't know anymore, man. I'm just in a weird place. Okay.
I know your hair looks great, though.
Thanks. I brushed it today.
Growing out.
Yeah, I think it's the first time I've actually brushed my hair since I was 19 or so.
Since Maryland and you not getting your soup, I think the saddest I've seen you is that you couldn't get your hair cut on Monday.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was a little it was an unexpected blow. I should have expected that the hair cuttery place would require a mask, but I was coming in from Michigan. I do have one. I just didn't have it in my car, and therefore I was rebuffed. I was rebuked. From whence I came, they said to me. And so now here I am, and I've decided I'm just going to lean into it. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to go full on Bret Michaels, Sebastian Bach.
There's no way that you're going to let that go. We're all going up for a little bit. Once we're allowed, it's going to happen in a couple of weeks, a Lettermen Row retreat up well past your neck of the woods. There's no way that when we're on the lake in 2 weeks that your hair is going to be that long. There's no way.
Bro, this mane, once it gets wet, is glorious. It's just, I look like Daryl Dixon from The Walking Dead.
I've never seen The Walking Dead, but I'll take your word for it.
Well, regardless.
If you had to pick up one candy bar from the grocery store, what would it be?
My favorite candy bar would probably be an underdog in this conversation. So I'm going to let you and Shive start it off.
Well, it's not a draft. You can still say it.
No. I want to come in at the end.
We're not having a only three could stay. We're going to have ranks.
I want you guys to bring up the big hitters, the heavy hitters, and then I'm going to come in at the end. I'm going to zoom in at the end and wallop you with a 1-2 punch that's going to leave you shaking in your boots.
Chives, what do you got?
If I had to pick up one candy bar from the store, it would probably be a Snickers. But the Baby Ruth comes in a very close second.
Sounds like we got a real basic B over here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to admit I was not anticipating to hear the word Baby Ruth in this conversation.
Those are so good. They're very, very good.
Well, that would have been more creative than I'm just going to pick up Snickers, the number one selling candy bar in the world. I don't know if that's what.
There's a reason for that. It's the number one selling candy bar in the world.
I just made up that fact. Don't fact check me on that Twitter. I'm throwing it out there. I bet that Hershey's just plain chocolate is number one.
Ooh, maybe.
In the world?
What do you think the number one selling candy bar in the world is? Don't you think it would just be the basic chocolate bar?
Yeah, probably. That or like a Crunch bar, like a Nestle Crunch.
Ooh, yeah. It
could possibly be in that conversation. But for me, for this guy, there's two bars that go straight to the top of the list. Number one, the Fifth Avenue.
The Fifth Avenue?
That's right.
What are we doing? It's
like a Butterfinger without making your mouth want to punch you in the face, you know? Then second is the 100 grand bar. That's right. The 100 grand and the Fifth Avenue are the two best candy bars on the market today. However, I'm also a huge fan of Kit Kats and Twixes. Oh, and whatchamacallits. I pretty much like all of them as long as there's no like coconut in it. Give me me. Miss me with that coconut, really dog. Miss me with that coconut.
Twix is really good. I can get behind a good Twix bar. But like I want to know
really good? Let's not oversell the Twix, Chives.
He loves the Cookie Crunch.
It's the only candy with Cookie Crunch.
Well, you should have had a PB Max back in the day.
Well, I just want to know now what the one candy bar you could, like, if you never saw it again in your life, you'd be okay with. Like that, I think that's a more important question because most people love candy. So like, I'm never going to say no. I'm more than likely never going to say no to a good candy bar. But like, what's the one candy like somebody offers you? It's like, no.
I actually don't like candy, as Berm knows from countless road trips with me. I don't get candy bars when we stop. I am a salty
snack guy. Yeah.
What am I gonna get when I go into the gas station, Berm?
Some variety of combos, probably the blue cheese version. I like candy bars. I also am a big fan of salty snacks. I like combos. Nacho cheese only, however, or the cheddar cheese. You don't need to get all fancy. Of course, I love Pringles, as we've discussed previously on this show. But for me, Chives, if we're talking like a candy bar where I'm like, nah, fam, that ain't it. If it like Almond Joys, Mounds, like, no, get out of here. That's disgusting. Disgusting. You know it is delicious. I'm sorry, we're off on this tangent. I'm going to continue to ramble. Is this mint and dark chocolate Kit Kat that's come out recently? Beautiful. Oh, it is a good one.
So since you guys hit on the salty snacks, all the Chex Mix, I am all the way in on Chex Mix. It's my number one salty snack. But the candy bar, I could definitely just 100% just get it out of here. Like, absolutely not. Is the Milky Way. There is absolutely no point to the Milky Way. It serves no purpose. It just needs to be gone.
Let me divert on two things here. Number one, there will be a musical overlay of Chex Mix by Lonely Island, I assume, playing right now. Number two,
Green Girls.
The Simply Caramel Milky Way is pretty darn good.
If it says Milky Way on the label, not buying it.
See, I don't.
You're missing out. I just like caramel. Also, do you say caramel or caramel?
I say caramel. No, I don't. I don't know what I say because I don't like it.
Because there are times when I am absolutely using the 3-syllable pronunciation of caramel, and there are other times when I'm just like caramel. Oh, like it's in Indiana, but it's not.
What? Yeah, I don't. That's one where, like, Snickers. If that's Chives number one, like, I could banish it and fire it into the sun. I don't want it.
Good thing I got a Baby Ruth to fall back on then.
Yeah, you do have a fallback option, but again, my opinion on that for candy bars doesn't really matter because I would be looking for something else anyway. On the last road trip and the road beers that we actually got to have in real life before the shutdown, Berm and I were in different parts of the country that they were out of the Big Ten footprint we don't normally get to go to. Those gas stations had combos flavors that I had never seen before. So I think I picked up like 5 different bags of combos with different flavors, and some of them I'm afraid to admit were absolutely terrible.
You mean like the 14-layer dip or whatever it was? I mean, I can't.
Yeah,
it's not a Dr. Pepper, you know. Like, you don't need to try to fit in 23 flavors into one combo. It's a pretzel with some darn filling in it. Just give me 1 or 2 flavors and move on. Like, why do we have to have 7-layer dip? Because here's what happens with a 7-layer dip anything, unless it's an actual 7-layer dip. All the flavors are put into one place, and it's terrible. Terrible.
Yeah, well, you've got
what makes a 7-layer dip good is that you get individual layers of flavor.
The other problem is if you get into the combos that aren't made with the pretzels, because a cracker or the fake, whatever the tortilla chip
fake tortilla,
those are not it. It's got to be the pretzel. And I have serious concerns about people who just get the cheese cracker combos. And I've seen that happen on our road trips before, and I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. It's like the people who go to Cane's and keep the coleslaw.
Or like someone who goes to McDonald's and gets a cheeseburger plain with no cheese. And to be forced to go to eat McDonald's on the road, again, we've talked about it, is not something that you ever want to happen anyway. But if you're there and what you choose is the McDonald's burger patty only on a McDonald's bun, oh, buddy, you're a serial killer. You're a serial killer.
You have problems. I feel like they've made, like, I don't set foot into McDonald's. Like, that was the last time I was in one, was with you and Ginn 2 days in a row for the Indiana game in 2017. Like, it seems like
lunch and breakfast.
Seems like they made some commitment to improving the chicken sandwich. Like, I was actually able to eat that.
Okay, I was gonna say we had to go through a drive-through to McDonald's one night after a game. What game was it? I don't remember. Maybe TC. No, not TCU. That was Whataburger. It was maybe Oklahoma. I don't remember. Either way, we had to go through a drive-through at like 2:30 in the morning for again one time too.
But if it was the Oklahoma game, then you had a different.
Yeah, you may not have been there.
Because that's the last time I've stepped foot in any McDonald's period is for that Indiana game. Because you know how I feel about it. And once we moved on from Ginn, there was never any point for that. Chives isn't dumb enough to ask us to go to McDonald's or Subway.
I will never ask you to go to McDonald's.
Skyline.
I will never ask you to go to Skyline.
I go to the McDonald's on campus at Ohio State pretty frequently when I'm in town, if I'm not working at your house, since it's right next door to the Woody and they have the Wi-Fi. But, that's it. Sometimes you just got to do it.
So I was thinking about this it was going to be more timely last week on the heels of the last 2 episodes of The Last Dance. And I was thinking about, the memories of the flu game, and people were sharing their own stories of their similar experiences in their life, the most heroic efforts they've made the next day. I mean, first of all, do you believe that the pizza story for Jordan? And then we'll talk about it.
No.
So, like, do you think that he was, like, getting hammered the night before, what was it, Game 6, Game 5?
Yes.
Think he was?
Yes.
All right.
The game wasn't until 7 o'clock the next night.
That's true.
Like,
He was
what? Go ahead, Chad.
the man was drunk the entire time they filmed The Last Dance. I don't care what you say. That he was sitting in that chair drinking the entire time. He was hammered. I don't think that's changed. I think he's just been hanging out and drinking no matter what. I'm pretty sure he was drunk. I
think it's more likely he just drank a little too much, and maybe the change in atmosphere or elevation and all the other things maybe just wore him down a little bit.
But it's also really hard to get booze in Utah, especially in 1998.
For Michael Jordan?
Well, is he gonna drive across the border?
I mean, 5 dudes delivered him a pizza, so I imagine he could get whatever he wanted.
They could only find one pizza place that was open at 10 o'clock.
And it was a Pizza Hut, which I guess is what you expect, because
like
we had to get beer at a Pizza Hut outside of Penn State.
Oh, we tried and failed because of obvious reasons. I don't know. I don't buy it. Maybe the Marriott's well stocked there that they were staying at, but otherwise you're having to send somebody on a run across the border into Evanston, Wyoming to try and get your good stuff because of all the restrictions on alcohol sales in Utah. So I don't know. I tend to believe it. I think there's details about it that don't make sense, like why he decided to eat an entire pizza by himself when there were 5 other people in the room.
Did they order multiple pizzas and he just had one?
The story was that they just had one. And then I think the director followed up and said that they cut this part out or something, that or the trainer had told another story where Jordan like spit on the pizza so that nobody else could eat it. And he was like eating it in front of them. So lots of moving pieces here. Anyway.
I don't think that he was intentionally poisoned by Pizza Hut workers in Salt Lake City, Utah. If that's the inference that was made on the show, which it kind of seemed like it was, that is not – I do not believe there's truth to that.
Well, you know what they say. No one out poisons the hut.
I was just making sure that we never pick up a new sponsorship.
All right, folks. We'll see you later.
From that place, we'll just go ahead and burn that bridge right now. Mark that off the list. They will never sponsor road beers. Hopefully this land grant thing just keeps working for us. So let's assume that maybe it was something else and not the pizza. And we've all been in this situation where the night before takes a toll and we got a big event the next day. What's the first thing that comes to mind as your personal flu game, Jerome?
Boy, I'm going to be real with myself. I don't know that I've ever done anything heroic in my entire life. So
it doesn't have to be that you're Michael Jordan the next day.
I mean, there are – boy – I'm just the type of person who, if I feel that way, I'm just going to shut it down. I'm just.
There's never been a single game that we've covered. You're not like, oh, sorry that I took you out for too many road beers last night. Don't worry about shooting the game tomorrow.
No, because I know my limit, and I don't get to the point where will wake up feeling like I'm in a rough patch. But, geez.
Never.
Listen, okay, so Michigan State in 2016 would probably be as close as 2018, the Pizza Nug episode.
Pizza Nugs, yeah.
The Pizza Nug episode, because that was a noon game the next day. We were out later than we intended. We were drinking till roughly 2 in the morning. That one was rough. And then couple that with the fact that the weather was terrible. That would probably be the closest one for me as Michigan State in 2018. That was one I did not want to be at. I did not want to be in that. I did not want to watch that game from the field. I wanted to stay in the hotel, and that was it. So I guess that would be the one for me.
I remember, I think it was like you sent me a message in the second quarter, and you were like, I'm going to head into – there's like 7 minutes left in the half. And you're like, is it okay if I just headed back into the work?
I said, I'm done with this half. I'm not coming back out.
I'm pretty sure it was a one-possession game, and I was like, I don't have anything to put up, like no celebratory touchdown or anything. I'm like, I don't have anything.
Yeah, but what do they get? I mean, a picture of Drew Crispin punting the football. That's it.
We had that
all that happened.
Terry McLaurin downing the punt. I think we used it like 3 times.
Yeah, because it was the only play of the game. But I was like, I'm not going back out there. It was miserable. I felt like not great. And I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go sit. Michigan State, for all of the issues that media has there with the food vouchers and all that, like their media workspace for us is great. Like one of the best in the Big Ten. So I was very comfortable in that room. Go in there, watch the game, take off the layers of clothes, and then wait till the second half when there was actually something important happening.
The pizza nugs were a blessing and a curse because I wasn't able to use the stupid food vouchers because I had no appetite for food the next day until, like, I don't know, 8 o'clock or something. We probably got a Freaky Fast on the way out of town. That was I don't know how that one escalated. I blame that one on you though because
I just took people's word. Everyone said we should go to Crunchies, so we did. Mike
Wilson told us to.
Mike Wilson, if you're out there, this is your fault.
That's good. I knew we would get there. I couldn't think if there was something that was worse than Michigan State for you.
No, I mean, I think that was pretty much it. I mean, by the end, I mean, if we would have had to do anything the day after the Rose Bowl, that probably would have been the worst because I was in bad shape. Not from like drinking too much, but I was just beat to hell physically from that game. And
I was gonna tell this story 2 weeks ago. Now we're here.
Listen. You can go ahead and tell your perspective of it. I know why what happened.
My vantage point was priceless.
And I'd have to do it again in the same situation. I would handle the outcome the same exact way if everything else, because I had to protect my equipment.
So we were on these just really janky, broke down buses. For some reason, the Rose Bowl cannot figure out that how to have, working equipment to transport media around town, which we have longer drives to cover the Rose Bowl than anywhere else. As we've said before, that whole experience with the Rose Bowl is one of the worst, other than the 4 hours where you get the great scenery and the beautiful grass and hopefully a good game, which we did get for the most part with Ohio State, Washington a couple of years ago. But it's an exhausting experience because you get there 4 hours early. Berm loads up on photos that we're going to need for the next 3 months, and he shoots nonstop. And it's a little bit warm there. He's worn out. He walks 12 miles or so. We finally get on the bus. All the stories are filed. All the photos are uploaded. All the videos are done. Take the janky bus. Get thrown around for 45 minutes. Tries to take 4 bags of equipment with him, and he's hobbling around.
I'm on a shuttle bus that has an aisle that is probably 36 inches or shorter or less. 24 inches, maybe 24-inch aisle on this shuttle bus.
It was thin. I was helping. I'm sure I had something for you. He gets to the stairs. The bus is not up against an elevated curve. It is one of the flat parts, of a normal.
It's a driveway. Yeah.
It is a chiveway. And Berm expects there to be a curb. He dangles his right foot down, feels for the curb, topples over.
Was no curve.
He's on his back going, "Ah!"
Well, number one, I thought I broke my ankle.
I was standing right on top of him, and I was like, taking my step to come out of the bus, out of the shuttle.
You Allen Iverson to me in LA.
And I see this turtle. Oh, send help! Send word!
Listen.
He was like, I think I broke my ankle. I couldn't stop laughing, and I was just trying to get safely off of the vehicle myself, that was my vantage point. And I
definitely
the rest of the night.
I definitely thought I broke my ankle. But again, I had my book bag, my backpack, and then 3 camera cases, trying to navigate it through a 2-foot wide space. Then you get to the part where the door is, and because it's a shuttle bus, has that stupid divider up there where there's just poles everywhere. So I'm trying to navigate holding those things this way, took a step, there was no curb. I went down like a sack of potatoes. I was, again, after the day of 12 miles of walking, completely dehydrated. I could not even get my legs to want to pick myself up. It was rough. I thought I broke my ankle for a good, 6-7 minutes until I realized it was going to just be a sprain. But, hey, I made it through it. I'm a lot stronger today because of that experience.
One of the better things they actually had that week was that they let us do the media party at McKellar in downtown LA. And I decided to take that as a personal challenge that they had the open bar tab, and this McKellar bar has some of the most exclusive beers in the world on draft. So if I had to cover the Rose Bowl the day after that, that might have been a problem, because at one point I had 4 different 10% double IPAs that I was drinking on the table at once because we only had 2 hours. And I just
is that frowned upon? Should you not have done that?
I guess I shouldn't have.
Is that what inspired me when we were in Chicago for the Northwestern game? I made that poor decision with slow stouts. See, that party, that media party at McKellar is like a prime example of I know when I'm done. Like, I got back on the shuttle bus.
But you left early, didn't you? You left
like 2 hours before everyone else did. I was like, you know what? This is enough for me. I've reached my saturation point. I am going to go get a couple hours of sleep that we're going to desperately need the next day. And, that was a weird trip. Trip.
It was weird. I wasn't proud of you for that. All right, Chives, you had a long time to think about your flu game.
Oh, without a doubt, it was a Big Ten championship game. It was an 8:00 game too, so it was kind of embarrassing that it was that bad. But that Friday night before the Big Ten championship game, you guys took me out in Indy, one of your favorite beer cities that you just know too well.
Far too well.
And I did not know it as well. And I woke up the next day knowing I was going to walk miles on the football field and following Justin Fields around for my story that I was going to do with the camera down on the field. And I just got a little carried away. And I certainly did not feel like showing up for the Big Ten championship game, even though it was my first ever Big Ten championship game covering. And I feel like I did a pretty good job, where there's some photos from the Big Ten championship game that I'm pretty proud of that I took. And I feel like I wrote a pretty good story based on the things I gathered on the field. So I think that would probably be my flu game.
You actually came down with a case of the flu, as none of us were aware of. And we pull back the curtain the whole way on this show, and we didn't know. But Chives actually admitted that to me, because we stayed in the exact same hotel room again for the NFL Combine that we stayed in for the Big Ten championship game. And he said, "I don't know why I'm telling you this." And then he said it to me, and I said, "I don't know why you told me that. Don't tell Jerome." And then I told Berm like 5 seconds later, as you had to know that I was going to.
So Berm comes out the next day, comes out of his room, because I had slept on the couch. He's like, "Hey, were you okay last night? Because you look like you were going to get sick when we went to bed." And I was like, "Oh, I was fine. I was fine. I just went to bed." No, that's not what happened.
I remember very clearly bringing you some Aleve and a bottle of water, saying, "You should probably take this." I remember, because, we take care of each other. We take care of each other on this.
You brought him water, or you brought him a BA?
Oh, water. I'm not giving him a BA.
I had my own BAs.
Oh, okay.
The BAs are, exclusive.
Austin, I think there's a flu game to be said about that. You have a flu game that you probably don't even think of, and it's a subtle one. I believe the entire NFL Combine, and you just getting through Lettermen Lives and Rapid Reactions at the Combine with just a terrible case of redacted.
Yeah, that was some kind of flu. Or
what did Chives make you eat there that caused this?
Okay, so
I didn't make him eat anything.
Are you sure?
I was trying to, as you guys have, pointed out on the show before, sometimes I have a way of exerting my will for the places that we go because I'm always willing to go to them by myself. But, I use that to my advantage and just assume that you're going to come with me to the breweries. So, I'm thinking in the back of my mind, this is the first time it's really me and Chives. Berm was not there for the combine. We didn't need him to be around for that. And I'm thinking, we got a cream of crab situation. Maybe I should look. Chives wants to try all the barbecue all over the world. That's his thing. I said, maybe I should look for a place where Chives can get his barbecue. And you wouldn't necessarily think that Indianapolis is going to be famous for that. And I can I can tell you that it's not. But getting choked up just thinking about it. I found this place. It was only like a mile from our hotel. It won like a bunch of awards and gone on the barbecue circuit, whatever the hell that is that, they go compete at. Chives knows. And I said, yeah, I'll do this. And it was right next to a brewery. We're fine. I don't know for a fact that that's what did it for the next several days, but I didn't finish the meat. It didn't all taste exactly right to me. And for lunch, we had stopped at the same Jimmy John's that we always stop to on the way over to Indy. So I know that didn't do it. But the ensuing 3 days were a chore. Yeah, I'm glad that Chives brought that back up because I think I lost 10 pounds. And just getting through the 2.5, 3 hours of interviews, writing a story, and then going to stand up, do a rapid reaction video with Chives for 10 minutes, and then I'd go right back and fall asleep and do other things for the rest of the day. I stayed in bed, I think, in Indianapolis like 65 hours of the time that we were there.
But it allowed me to write 90% of our combine coverage, give me some good experience. So maybe it was a blessing. Let's just say it that way.
I didn't really realize that Chives was so BBQ centric until we went to Travion Henderson's high school.
Yeah.
And he told us, you should go, if you're staying in Charlottesville the first night, there's this barbecue place to go to the next day for breakfast. Go there.
Yes. I'm like, breakfast, barbecue for breakfast. That place is great.
I'm like, okay, no, but thanks. Also, okay. I asked and he was like, no. Yeah, Chives, I mean, there's nothing wrong with loving barbecue, but I don't know the BBQ for breakfast is necessary.
Yeah. Man, I would not have, I had kind of blocked the combine out of my memory bank because that was such a just brutal week. Leading up to my birthday, what a happy celebration that was for me. I was thinking the first one that I ever had, like there was something important, was like I turned 21 and then had to cover a Wyoming-Colorado State basketball game the next day at like 2:00. And I don't really know how I survived, but I did fall asleep in the media room waiting for Steve McLean, the coach of the Cowboys at that time, to come into the room because I was just literally dead, I think. This is my second life after I got rid of the first one. I don't know what I wrote or how I wrote or what anything that happened in that day, but I made it through. There was a story in the paper, and I didn't actually die. That's the first one that comes to mind. I think we all probably had those when we were in college, but now for Chives, that was just 12 months ago. But maybe Ohio U is not really a party school anymore, so that doesn't matter.
It is what you make of it. That's all I'll say on that subject.
Where the Cheez-Its flow like wine. I saw you were upset about one of your favorite places changing their menu or something today.
Yeah. There's a great drunk food spot. I'll just call it what it is. You walk up, you hand the people the $5 bill that you have. You spent 35 of your $40 in your wallet. You walk up, you got the $5 bill. You hand it to the lady. She's got a pre-made chicken sandwich with bacon, and this like maple sauce. It's basically it's like honey mustard but with maple in it. It's a really good, and they call it waffle sauce. I don't really actually know what it is. It could be anything.
Yeah.
And then it's between two waffles, and it's called chicken and waffles. So this place is called Uptown Grill, and they serve like all kinds of sandwiches. Their Philly cheesesteak is really good. But like I said, $5, you get a chicken and waffle sandwich. You walk home, you pass out in your room, and you find the chicken and waffle wrapper on the floor the next day, and you're like, oh, it was a good night. This guy bought the place, and he's like, we're not changing the menu at all, but we're getting rid of the chicken and waffle. Well, people call this restaurant or this walk-up little drunk food spot, they call it chicken and waffle. Like, nobody calls it Uptown Grill. They just call it chicken and waffle because it's very famous.
Yeah.
I just don't – it's right across from Jackie O's, so it's, like, perfect. I don't understand why, if you call it something, you would take it off the menu.
I just had an idea for a restaurant. Here's my idea for a new restaurant concept. You walk in, and let's say there's 3 or 4 price points, okay? Like $5, $10, $15, $20. You give whatever amount of money you want, and then the people working there decide what they give you to eat.
That's terrible.
You know, they're just like, okay, I'm going to give this guy beef and noodles, and then like this guy's getting Wiener Schnitzel. You know, you just like randomly choose. I don't know. I just think it'd be cool.
Who would go there?
No one, but I mean,
gonna go play food roulette?
Yeah, I mean, people go to restaurants where their entire MO is to be a jerk to you. I mean, people do that. Why wouldn't it be worth the experience? But like, dude, I went to mystery food and I got this. Like, you could compare. Oh, there could be like a bingo board. You know, like they have like 35 different possibilities, and you had and whoever was the first person to get bingo, I don't know, becomes part owner or something.
I have always thought that an idea that is almost like that is you order your food, and then there's a Plinko board you have to drop down there, and that decides how much your food costs. So like if you land in the middle, hey, free meal, man. But if you land on one of the outside ones just by chance, like, hey, you're paying $39 for like a chicken sandwich and fries. Like, I think that is a decent idea because that is more food roulette, because then like, are you ordering the lamb chops hoping that you land on it's going to be $3, or are you ordering the chicken sandwich knowing that you might have to pay $40?
But what if you only had $5 in your wallet? You wouldn't go there.
Okay. Well, okay. Wouldn't
it be better to just go in and give $5 and get random food, as opposed to go in with $5 not knowing if you can afford any food?
But what is the $5 thing like? Do you have the chance of winning like prime rib?
Listen, man, no, there's tiers, okay?
I
still have to worry about food cost. It isn't a.
That's what I'm saying though. Like, if you ordered the prime rib at my Plinko restaurant, you could technically pay $1 for prime rib. Or you could run that risk and order a cheeseburger and pay $40.
Your demographic requires a ton of people with expendable income that are just wanting to give it away.
Oh, buddy, I'm putting that thing in the short north.
My demographic is people who are – my demographic is
Standard Hall just stole that idea.
Yeah, what I'm interested in are people who are like, I just want to eat whatever you're going to give me. It's like I don't know. I just think it would definitely not work, but I want.
Yeah, it sure would. I think
Are you putting this place by the diabetics hospital? Like, I just want whatever you're going to give me. Like, what are we doing there?
Yes, good idea.
No good idea. No good idea.
Now you're thinking, Josh. Do you remember the mayor of Toledo? The mayor of Toledo 20 years ago got in trouble with people because he suggested that we move all the deaf people to the airport. Well, why would you? You were not here. But yeah, this is basically the same thing. Just move it out there.
Wow.
Remember, there's this restaurant out west called Heart Attack Grill. You ever hear that one? Like, no. It was
Wait, Austin, did you know Berm lived out west?
I've heard of it.
Relatively famous, but like then they got in trouble because their burgers were called like the triple cardiac arrest or something, and then someone died.
Oh no. That's
And so then people were like, "Well, I guess maybe you shouldn't eat this food because it's."
Well, it was truth in marketing. They should be applauded.
You'd go into the restaurant and like all the servers would all be dressed in like medical outfits, and you'd get like a gown when you came in. It was really a good burger, though. I mean,
you don't go bungee jumping and be like, "Oh, you told me this was going to be completely safe."
Yeah, I mean, you do it for the thrill. That's the point of my entire food experiment restaurant, where you just don't know what you're going to get.
We tried to order the cheeseburger, and they said, "Nope, you can't do that. It will literally give you a heart attack."
You will literally die. Literally? Literally die.
All right. Road beers. Since all three of us raved about the Cashmere single hop, Land Grant decided to make it another batch, a huge batch of it. It's on sale again now. I had some delivered to my house today, so that's obviously what I'm going to be diving in tonight. Now it's called Lonely Hops Club Cashmere. Yes, bro.
I need you to make sure that there's some of that available in 2 weeks when we take a trip.
I spoke with all of our good friend James about that when he brought it to my house and he said, "I know Berm is going to be jealous about this because he liked it too, and he raved."
That stuff was tremendous.
And he said, "I'll be sure to have some so that you guys can take it up there." So I bet strongly that we will film an episode on the lake, and we will be drinking Lonely Hops Club because it is I think it's one of the best beers that they've made.
Well, next Monday, because I'm going to be coming down to the bus for some video stuff that we're doing. James, I'm coming to see you. Tell me where to meet you and how many beers I can put in my trunk. We'll go from there. This week, I've been.
You're just going to hand him a 5, a 10, a 15, or a 20.
Yes.
And he's going to decide what you get.
Yes.
And
he's going to ask me where the hell I got a $15 bill.
Or, Berm, he could give you a bunch of beer, and then you could play Plinko to see how much you had to pay for it.
So anyway, this week, because it's been so hot, all I've been drinking is like summer beer over on, which is one of my favorites from Bell's. That's all I've been drinking this week. So I've been kind of boring. It was like 1,000,000 degrees outside for 3 straight days. I was like, I have to drink summertime beers.
Chives, I don't think that you had got your last delivery from James before because we went on hiatus last week, took it off to do some other work-related things instead of killing an hour talking. What did you get from Land Grant? What did you like?
The experimental series was fantastic. It was, I don't know if I can be pronouncing this correct. La Terrace? I don't know. Very good. Whatever, if you see it on the shelf, it's very good.
How do you spell it? Travis?
LA space TERRASSE.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm not going to try, but we'll just text James afterwards and he can get it. We'll edit it in. You can.
I think it probably is like the terrace, right? Like you're outside on the terrace.
The
like
terrace. It could be terrace. It could very well be
beer?
terrace.
Yeah, it's like a patio beer, right?
Yeah. I would say you're probably onto something there. The other one that was just absolutely fantastic is fruit slices. If you haven't had fruit slices, please do yourself a favor. So I'm excited to drink some Land Grant with you guys up at the lake, and also Berm's going to point me in the direction where I can get some more GW's Little White Lie from last year.
I would like to, before we sign off here, I would like to apologize to Pizza Hut, the Rose Bowl,
Standard Hall,
and anyone else we may have offended during today's episode of Road Beers.
Crunchies.
Crunchies. You know what? Screw you. I'm not apologizing to Crunchies. They still owe us an apology.
Land Grant for me mispronouncing the name of this beer.
We appreciate your products and your services, except for the Rose Bowl shuttle bus, and hope to see you all again sometime soon. Thank you.
Except Pizza Hut, because I don't care about that. That's the apology rescinded to Pizza Hut. This has been Road Beers. We are back. We don't know what the schedule is going to be like, but we'll do another one soon, definitely in the next couple weeks. If you missed us, hey, we really appreciate you. If you made it to the end of this, we doubly appreciate you. If you don't like it, you probably turned us off a long time ago, so don't worry about it. Appreciate Berm, Chives, hanging out with me on this Friday. This has been Road Beers at Lettermen Row. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe below to get the latest videos from Lettermen Row.
We got Letterman Live, we've got the practice report, we got rapid reaction. Hey, and you know we got Buck IQ with Zach Bourne.
For sure. We got recruiting breakdowns with Berm. We got whatever you need. Ohio State football and Ohio State athletics, we've got you covered here at Lettermen Row.